It was the city at the heart of the Romanian Revolution as the communist regimes of Eastern Europe tumbled one by one. But although the Berlin Wall had already fallen, Nicolae Ceausescu was clinging to power. The revolution began in Timisoara in 1989 as an ethnic Hungarian pastor, Laszlo Tokes, was told to leave his congregation, accused of criticising the authorities. He refused. Parishioners turned out to protect him from the Secret Service. Workers joined them, and as the crowd grew, they marched on the Communist Party's headquarters. Ceausescu ordered the security forces to open fire. In support of those killed, the unrest spread to the capital, Bucharest. The images of Ceausescu and his wife trying to flee by helicopter, his quick military trial and then execution, long ingrained in the memory of Romanians, and especially in the mind of the pastor who sparked it all.
The members of the Securitate don't regret their actions, but I have no wish for vengeance. I see them as cogs in a mechanism. What are hated is the regime and the mechanism of the Securitate itself. When I learned that Ceausescu had fallen, that was the happiest moment of my life. I never imagined that joy like that could be possible.
Fake news swirled around the revolution. French media amongst those caught out as they broadcast footage of a mass grave in Timisoara where 4,500 people had allegedly been killed. It emerged that the bodies had been dug up in a local cemetery. It's thought less than 100 actually died in Timisoara. So many years later, though, Romanians right across the country very angry that little has been done to establish the exact facts of what happened. The country remains poor, still in the grip of corruption, but Timisoara is experiencing an unprecedented economic and cultural growth. Many companies have set up there, and it will be European Capital of Culture in 2021. Well, Anne Maillet and Gulliver Cragg revisit Timisoara for France 24.
It was on his way home from work on the 16th of December 1989 that Florin Ahire noticed the anti-government protesters. A small group at first, but in communist Romania it was unheard of.
I said that's a crowd I want to join. I had no idea of what a revolution is at that point. I just felt I had to be there.
Sick of poverty and Nicolae Ceausescu's dictatorship, tens of thousands soon flocked to this square. The regime called in the military. After just a week, though, the army switched sides. Ceausescu fled, but the violence didn't stop. Florin was nearly hit by a sniper.
From that green building, there were some shootings. And while coming from here, a soldier stopped us at that corner in this position. Like this, because he shot his entire magazine of things. He was untrained, he was young, he was like my age, 18 years.
The still unexplained violence after the dictator had gone created chaos and a power vacuum. Party apparatchiks stepped in to fill it. Today, Florin is working for an arts festival that's revisiting that time. This installation juxtaposes images of revolutions from around the world.
I pretty much think that the Arab Revolution and Romania's 1989 revolution went bad. People died, and I'm not sure that most of the people wanted that the outcome should be like this one.
Romania's revolution was the only one of the 1989 upheavals to see serious bloodshed. In Timisoara, around 100 people died. But at one point, some claimed there was a much higher death toll. There were false reports of a mass grave.
This is the secret door.
This is Timisoara's Paupers Cemetery. 84 people had gone missing during the uprising, and their loved ones came looking for them here. Brândușa Armanca reported on the scene for Radio Free Europe.
It was a huge mess. Everyone was looking for those people. Where are they? And they started digging up the bodies here. A woman, and then a baby.
Pictures of the bodies were broadcast around the world.
I can still see this terrible image of the 11 bodies. You can't forget something like that. It was tragic.
But these weren't the people they were looking for. A forensic doctor identified them a few days later.
He gave the names of the people whose bodies had been dug up. And there was no question about it. They died before the revolution.
Deliberate fake or misunderstanding? It's still not clear. But the grossly exaggerated death toll in Timisoara was used to help justify Ceausescu's execution, paving the way to power for the second-tier communists who founded the PSD party. 30 years on, the PSD is still at the centre of Romanian political life, and Brândușa is still reporting for Radio Free Europe. Today she's covering the visit of the party's leader, Viorica Dăncilă, met by protesters. Among the demonstrators, Marianne, who moved to Germany 30 years ago. Like many here, she feels the PSD stole the revolution from the people.
None of those commies went to jail, not one. They're still in power and governing this country. That's the problem. And I wonder how it's going to end. People ask me why I'm still fighting, since I don't live here anymore. But my heart has always stayed in Romania.
As I told you, she's not very popular here.
Indeed, Dăncilă was soon to resign as party leader. This was actually her last working day as Prime Minister. She'd just lost a confidence vote, accused of undermining Romania's position in Europe. When foreign reporters ask her to speak English, she can't hide her bitterness.
Some people can speak English very well, and I appreciate people who can speak other languages. English, French, German, any foreign language. But such people don't care about this country. With English, it's easy for them to go to Brussels and just say what Brussels wants to hear, rather than what should be said to support this country.
Rather taken aback, Brândușa heads to a meeting of the Timisoara Society, an NGO best known for publishing the Timisoara Proclamation in March 1990.
Timisoara is a European city whose ethnic groups have rejected and continue to reject nationalism.
It's important because it's the first manifesto for the ideas of Timisoara and for the people who took to the streets.
Brândușa asks the intellectuals for their reaction to the Prime Minister's outburst.
This is really a mentality that can lead to conflict. She's inciting isolation of this country. It only goes to show how important the proclamation is, even now. It wasn't only relevant to the 1990s.
Timisoara's artistic community has invited 20 street artists from around Romania to paint murals on the theme of the anniversary. All were children in 1989, or not born yet. Lucian Nitsa chose George Orwell's famous Animal Farm, an allegory for a failed revolution.
The animals are rioting, so they are had enough with the pigs, so they are rioting. So I use this analogy for the 89 events in Romania.
We're not pretending that we are trying to research to see the historical truth, but rather we're trying to draw people's attention towards what happened there, and especially the young people's attention. We thought it's necessary because especially the new generation doesn't have so many information about what happened during the revolution.
The idea is to bring works closer to the people by putting them in public spaces, not dedicated galleries. The hall where Florin set up the video installation also hosts job fairs. Businesses in Timisoara are struggling to find workers. Since Romania joined the EU in 2007, 4 million people have emigrated in search of higher pay. There's virtually no unemployment here, but as Denis Posteuca is finding out, wages remain low.
Compared to other countries, the salaries are too small. We as a country are not as developed as others. We don't yet have the same level.
Denis's father is amused by the video. He remembers those revolutionary days.
Things haven't turned out quite as well as we'd hoped back then.
Cheap labour has been a key element of Romania's development model. It is what brought Heinrich Widmann here in 1993 when his company was facing bankruptcy in Italy. With a factory in Timisoara, the firm could be competitive again.
Yes, these machines you can see, we are printing T-shirts or some other items.
Cotton-Tex bloomed, as did Timisoara's economy, reinforced by many other Western investments. But they've become victims of their own success.
In this factory are working in this moment 450 people. 15 years ago in this factory worked more than 800 people. We worked 2 shifts. I would say that 70–80% of the children of our employees go to university, and they try to get a job where they have not to work so hard.
Faced with the competition from outside Europe, Cotton-Tex has moved much of its production to cheaper Romanian cities.
Minimum salary is 330 euro approximately. It's still very cheap, but it's difficult, even with these very, very cheap salaries, it's difficult to be competitive in the textile business.
And as Widmann admits, it's also very difficult to live in Timisoara on 330 euros a month. Most workers here do overtime to make ends meet. The animal farm mural is finished. Inside, the building is hosting a performance of a musical version of George Orwell's novel, adapted to the Romanian context and including a dig at the foreign investors. Orwell's famous allegory depicted a communist revolution gone wrong as a small elite grab all for themselves. This troop feels it's just as valid for Romania's anti-communist revolution.
The investors are using the Romanian labor force, and basically what they want is for everyone to do maximum work for minimum pay.
If they restore some buildings in the center of the town, it's not enough for us. Or the economics are growing a little bit, I don't know, with 2 or 3% or 5 or whatever, you name it. This is not enough for us.
Timisoara is undergoing a makeover. It's been selected to be European City of Culture in 2021. But many suspect profiteering and corruption in the allocation of contracts for the work. The new airport terminal is a case in point. A tiny and unknown firm won the €80 million contract. Rândusha smelt a rat.
It's a very small company based in a village in the south of Romania. And this village is linked to the name of a former government finance director.
The European Union has placed Romania under special observation over corruption concerns.
For us, it's an opportunity. For us citizens, I mean. The politicians are angry about it. And this year, The report was very bad.
Florin, meanwhile, is still an activist. He steers clear of party politics, but designs posters and stickers for campaigners.
9th of May, Don't Come Alone. It was a march against deforestation.
As part of the arts festival commemorating the anniversary of the revolution, he's been hosting workshops for young people. Today, they're making bookmarks using slogans from 1989.
Stabilitatea și de-aia am cerut, adică să-l renforcez. We want free elections. We have no with the dictator. Yes, he was killed. Jos comunismul, yes, mainly now we have a capitalism, and we want free press. Yes, it's achieved.
Oh, so the revolution was a great success?
Ha ha ha! Yeah, mainly.
But not entirely. Florin, like most of those who joined those early protests, feels Romania's revolution was hijacked by the party elite and failed to live up to its promise. Today, polls suggest less than half of Romanians have confidence in the democracy established after 1989.
And Maya and Gulliver Cragg revisiting Timisoara for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it and the previous editions as well on our website at france24.com. Thanks very much for watching. More news coming up very shortly.